Buongiorno a tutti, ai presenti, a quelli che partecipano in presenza.
Everyone, to everyone who is participating today, good morning. Also to those who are participating online. This day is dedicated to the friendship and the collaboration between Israel and Sardinia. Chenàbura is the association promoting the event based on the brotherhood and the closeness of the two peoples. A friendship that started a very long time ago, bound by culture and the love for history. The ambassador has met the president Solinas, also promoting the archaeology, the shared archaeology and the architecture, putting together the two peoples. Today, we will talk about archaeology and the tools, the modern tools, the cutting-edge tools available today, thanks to the Israeli contribution to technology. And Sardinia is witnessing also the effectiveness of these tools. We have a very tight schedule today. We'll start with an institutional greeting by President Solinas. I give the floor to him. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I would like to pay tribute to the organizers of this event and all the participants, in particular, pay tribute to the association, to Mario Carboni, to Chenàbura, headed by Mario Carboni, who is now promoting the relationships between Israel and Sardinia. I wish to also pay tribute to Ambassador Alon, Israeli ambassador to Italy. It was very nice to meet him in person, and I wish him the very best for his work in Italy. I would also like to pay tribute to the organizers, because this event reinforces the already tight bonds between the two peoples, just like our host has mentioned, ranging from culture to economics. But it also gives the opportunity to shed some light on the agricultural sector, which is a fundamental sector for Sardinia. It used to be a fundamental sector in the past, and it is still. Our economy is based basically on that. Talking about technology today is also talking about the future, because technology gives us the tools to meet and to face the challenges ahead, which are now glooming over the future of our economy. So boosting effectiveness and the technology contribution would be very interesting for us. Agriverso is an opportunity to explore some topics and some challenges ahead, which will be tackled by the use of technology. And our island has to measure itself, has to face a greater and greater automation that is necessary for an effective approach to agriculture to take place, to reduce the costs of production and to improve the yield of farming. One of the great topics in our island is the great parcelization of properties. So plots of lands are divided, the land is divided into microplots, and this has an effect also on the final cost of products on the market. So talking about the potential of technology today, It's very interesting also in this perspective. Using robots and using drones is an opportunity, together with precision farming, to improve the effectiveness of the agricultural activities which are carried out today on our territory. The contribution of Agricultura, Confagricoltura is quite important for us. So I thank them for being here today in Cagliari. I also thank those who are participating online. And I believe that the region of Sardinia is quite interested in this event because it is now carrying out a number of activities and also launching new policies to face the challenges ahead, in particular considering the extent, the distribution of plots across the land, and in order to boost the economy and to make sure that companies and farms in small villages may remain in Sardinia and may survive in Sardinia, also giving the chance to young people to settle and to launch new companies. The birth rate, the low birth rate, and also the trend to leave the countryside are now scourging in Sardinia. So investing our 250 million euro supporting family policies, giving 600 euro a month to each new family for 6 years, for the first 6 years, is a sign that the current government is focusing on the support of families and also the support of small and medium enterprises. So we are trying to tackle the problem from a political point of view, also providing a vision for an economic model that may boost employment and support the companies who are now being incorporated in our country. In this way, we might also revive the economic fabric of our country. This is a great challenge. This is the great challenge that we have to face. The quality of life, the quality of living, the quality of the products in Italy are great, and we have the duty also to support this and to make sure that future development is in line with our vision. So bringing technology to Sardinia, as much technology as possible and as innovative as possible, is also very important to support small settlements, smaller settlements, making sure that young people may actually stay in Sardinia, even in the small villages, and to thrive from the economic point of view, producing in our inner areas in an effective way would also be essential for companies to be able to export our products. So I don't want to spend too much time on this. I would like to give the floor to the rest of the people who have joined us today. I wish everyone a good work and enjoy your day here. Thank you, President. I would like to thank you also on behalf of the audience. Now, His Excellency Alon, Israeli ambassador to Italy, is given the floor. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. President of Sardinia, Christian Solinas.
For your nice words. I definitely hope to follow the steps of the previous ambassador, Dror Idar, and visit Sardinia soon, next year. I also want to thank the Presidente de Confagricoltura Sardegna, Dr. Paolo Mele, e il Direttore Generale della Protezione Civili della Sardegna, Dr. Antonio Belloi. And yes, the Assessorato all'Agricoltura della Regione Sardegna. And special thanks for Dr. Mario Carboni, Presidente dell'Associazione Sardos pro Israele, Chenàbura, che ha promesso questa conferenza, e Dr. Bruno Spinazzola, direttore dell'Associazione Chenàbura, ideatore dell'evento. And dear friends and representative from Israeli companies. After our collaboration with the Sardinia region, and after the visit of the previous ambassador Dror Idar, this event is very important for follow-up to strengthen collaboration between Italy and Israel, between Sardinia and Israel. During the visit, we've been in touch with the civil protection authorities on the low-cost problem and the water issues. In today's event, there are many Israeli companies connected to water, irrigation, and agri-sector, and we hope that it will bring a fruitful cooperation with a perfect match between the Italian, Sardinian needs and the Israeli technology know-how and expertise. I heard you saying something about Alto Galilea. I am in Acito, la regione de Alto Galilea, in un kibbutz. As you know, we last year organized with Confagricoltura in Naples, the International Agritech Israel, and it was a huge success both from institutional and from business point of view. We know that the south of Italy, the island of Sardinia, and they live the same weather condition as Israel, and this is the reason why we believe that there are a lot of similarity that could play as synergies to meet the challenges that both countries are having. Confagricoltura represents an important player for our cooperation in Italy in the agriculture sector, and it also represents a guarantee of strong, long-lasting connection between Italian and Israeli business ecosystems. Our collaboration started more than 10 years ago, and we are proud to continue the work together. I am convinced that today's event will help to introduce both technologies and Israeli companies to the relevant people, more than anything, you, Mr. President, but the companies and relevant people in Sardinia. And I hope that it can be extended to more cooperation to other fields, not only on agricultura. I want to thank again to the people who initiated this event and make this meeting possible. And I hope to, and I express my wish that we have a very fruitful giorno. E grazie di nuovo a tutti.
Grazie Eccellenza.
Thank you, Your Excellence.
Grazie per il suo prezioso
Thank you for your
contributo
precious
e buon
contribution, and I wish you all the best. Let's go back to our event.
Invito a prendere posto qui in queste
So I invite the General Director of Protezione Civile, Mario Belloi, from Confagricoltura, Bruno Spinazzola, Director of Agriverso. So Mario Carboni, Paolo Mele, Antonio Belloi, Bruno Spinazzola. Where is Mr. Belloi? Let's go on with our program. I wish to give the floor to Mr. Paolo Mele. 5 minutes for you. You have the floor. Good morning, everyone. I wish to thank President Solinas and Ambassador Bar and all the rest of the speakers and you, the audience, and the companies which are now today participating in this event, also to understand the new technologies available. Made available by Israel. Let's not forget that Sardinia was one of the first areas to implement Israeli technology using the TROP systems. Sardinia was one of the first areas in Italian regions to save water by using Israeli technology. So today we are here to understand if there is a way to solve our great challenges thanks to this collaboration. Workforce is a huge problem in Sardinia for the agricultural sector in Sardinia. As President said, the demand for our products is greater and greater, and we believe that there is ground for development, but we need to make our companies more and more competitive. So we have to focus on environmental sustainability, but also financial sustainability. This is a great step ahead. This transition is necessary. Confagricoltura is fully committed into a transition, a technological transition for local companies, but we need to understand how to implement that. We need to find new tools and adjust them to make sure that companies can innovate. Innovation is not only about receiving funding, but it is also very important to find new instruments within the landscape policy framework to understand how to put Sardinia more, how to make Sardinia more relevant within the international market. So how can we develop our territory? How can sustainability be further developed? We need to, I believe that we need to go on with our production, comply with the rules, but also focus on the technological transition, which may serve as a launch pad for a new development. I'm looking forward to listen to you and to understand what technology is now available. So Bruno, thank you also for your contribution. And I believe that the time is ripe for the agriculture in Sardinia to take a step ahead. Thank you. Now the floor is given to Mario Carboni, a journalist who is in a way the voice of Chenàbura, who is nurturing the relationship between Sardinia and Israeli. He will talk about how this collaboration may serve as a launch pad to make companies thrive. I'm very happy to see a crowded room. This is a great gift after a long-lasting effort made by voluntaries. Chenàbura is an association that operates under a very easy but not simple challenge. We want to create a bond, to bridge the gap that connects connecting Sardinia and the Jewish culture. Because there are similarities, and I believe that this kind of collaboration and understanding is necessary to support international cooperation. Today we are focusing on agriculture, technology is a first step in that direction. We will also organize a new and further meetings focusing on other sectors. I don't want to spend much time explaining what we do, who we are. We have been working for 10 years, so maybe many of you might know us. We haven't, as I spent much time talking. We have been working hard, say underground. Since 1840, we've been collaborating with Israel. Focusing on today's topics, I would like to save some time by reminding a very important person, Sincha Blas. He used to be, he was a man living, Israeli man living in a kibbutz in the 50s. He noticed that despite a drought, there was he noticed that there was a tree that, despite the drought, was flourishing, and he noticed that there was an underground tube that was dripping some water on its roots. So he thought, when plastic became a very common material, he decided to develop underground drip system. Something that is very the system is something in a way very young, less than 50 years of existence, but by putting together experience and working hard on the technology, he was able to create a garden, a blooming garden in a desert area. When Israel was under the Turkish regime, Tel Aviv was created on basically on an area that looked like a sandbox. Technion was created, the technological university was created and became an example for everyone. So working on technology and connecting technology to science and culture was the key element to secure the development of Israel over time. I wish to pay tribute to everyone and to Israel and Sardinia as nations. Thank you, Mario Carboni. Thank you very much. I give the floor to Bruno Spinazzola, director of Agriverso, a very fascinating and innovative company in Sardinia. I'm Jewish. I have French origins, but I've become Sardinian. So it was necessary for me to bring innovation and, in a way, Israel to Sardinia. When we think about superpowers, we think about China, the United States, but some countries may become superpowers in the world, focusing on technology. And this is the case for Israel. Great companies, great IT companies in Israel are based in Israel. Google, Facebook, Apple, Intel are also based there. $billions of dollars invested in Israel to create. There's a great outsourcing of creativity in Israel. So innovation is in a way embedded in that territory. And I believe that this is the only way that we have to face our challenges. Resources are limited, but what is not limited is imagination. So we need to use systems we need to, it is possible for us to create, but also to use the tool in an effective way to save water, but to grow more plants. In order to do so, we need to understand something. Agriculture 4.0 is a great revolution. It's a way, but we need to focus on the way that farmers can use to use new tools in an effective way. But 5.0 means also to tap in the world of virtual reality. So we are now entering this new world. We need to tap into artificial intelligence. Today we will be talking about water, earth, the sky, and sun and the sun. We thought to talk about these 4 elements and to bring a companies here which focus on each of them. So some of them talk about soil. Ladora is an example. We talk about the sky, the use of drones, and also precision smart irrigation. So I will give the floor also to the rest of the people. Thank you everyone for your participation and for the interest.
I'd like to thank
Paolo, Mele, and Confagricoltura,
they've understood what they did. We have been doing, and I'm really glad about their speed of reaction, Mario Carboni, clearly.
And thank you to Mario Carboni, who made this possible.
Thanks, Bruno Spinazzola. Now we are going to get to know better who and how make innovation in a practical way. So this startup system in Israel with Tiziana, Allegra. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have a long presentation. I hope I won't bore. I'll try to be brief to leave room especially to the companies. I work with business development and relationships between Italian and Israeli companies and Italian and Israeli universities, because research and companies work hand in hand. Today, I will try to summarize Israel's history as a startup nation. This is the way it's been called for at least 12 years, but the first time startup nation was used as a term. This is sorry, my agenda, let's say, just to give you an overview of what I will be talking about. Israel's history as a startup nation started with 2009 with the publication of a book, because as it often happens, those who study a country's history tend to leave a written trace. The book has a preface written by Shimon Peres, but here I'm going to quote a summary of the strong content of this book and of its interpretation of a startup nation. That is, crisis bring along among opportunities. And as we know, Israel had many crises, and they started to happen even before the birth of the nation. Here, I'd like to thank the organizers, Chenàbura and Confagricoltura, for inviting me, and also Agriverso, which organized this. And it's interesting to talk about all these things in a region such as Sardinia. The history of Israeli startups starts from a number of crises. Here there's a sentence quoted at the two authors of the book I am mentioning. Sorry, I keep going forward with my slides. Here, this is the right one. As I was saying, the quote is these resources to valorize, change weaknesses in strengths are the key words, and technology and courage, which is defined with a recurrent word in his book. That means not only courage in a positive sense, but also arrogance somehow, not to question themselves or be a bit reckless, which is a term that probably represents researchers and entrepreneurs in Israel. So these are the strengths. This book was published in Italy in 2012, and I'd like to invite you to read it. Probably start-uppers read it and they've been using it as a reference. In Italy, it's been translated as Laboratory Israel, and the translated title would be Israel's Economic Miracle History. And this book starts from a story that goes back to 1947, that is Resolution 181 from the UN General Assembly, when the UK decided not to be able to manage the conflict determined by the Jewish inflows from the end of the 19th century, and especially from the eastern countries. And then it became more constant in the 20s of the last century, as Carboni said earlier. But this resolution was the result of the inability of the UK to manage those territories and that conflict. So the responsibility went in the hands of the UN, and it was supported. So a country divided in three areas was created. On the one hand, a Jewish state, the second an Arab state, and then a shared area, which was Jerusalem. But this, now the number of inhabitants have changed, but the organization and the structure has remained the same. And I'm going to talk about chutzpah, which is the entrepreneurship. It means being courageous, and it has many meanings, but we'd like to translate it as entrepreneurship, which is the strength of Israeli startups who don't fear failure and believe that failure is an opportunity to learn and improve. This is the quote. I'm not going to read it, but you'll find it, and you'll in the acts of the conference, and you'll find it in the book if you're going to read it. But Shimon Peres talked about the strength of a country. Here, I've only updated the data because back then we didn't have 9.5 million inhabitants in Israel, and now we do. Its GDP is very strong, even compared to some European countries, and this is important. But as I was saying earlier, this country underwent various crises. From 1971 to 1994, Israel has seen a strong crisis. In 1973, in 1984, its unemployment rate was 430%. That was a catastrophe. But the country decided to restructure using political, economical, and strategies, and also exploited the collaboration with the United States. So startups followed the example of the Silicon Valley startups, and this is only the first example of the synergies that emerged between Israel and other countries. And new companies became to appear. But also there's another strength, which is migrations. Israel's strong point is migration. Migrations started at the end of the 19th century and became more and more intense in the 20s and the 30s of the 20th century, also because of the historical situation. So migration from Eastern European countries, and then from Ethiopia at the end of the 19th century, a large inflow of people came from Ethiopia. And this migration brought skills on the one hand and needs on the other hand. And those needs created and caused the crisis, but then they became an opportunity. The opportunity strengthened during the Perestroika years in 1992. People from the former Soviet Union started to arrive to Israel, and the skills which in the 19th century were mainly farming skills, and in the 20s there were professional skills, and with the inflow from the former Soviet Union, the skills that came into Israel were mainly engineering. So we place the beginning of Startup Nation at the end of the notice, around 2010. In reality, its other strong point is ecosystem, because, as I said, a strategy was conceived, and it was a political and administrative economic strategy. But most of all, there has a strong impulse for collaboration between accelerators, incubators, research centers, universities, and companies, supported by the commitment for synergies from the political and economic world between Israel and other Western countries, which were very interested in innovation. So the US, first of all. The military sector has always played a major role because Israel has been living in a war state. Israel, as you know, is surrounded by enemies. But starting from the 70s, these crises have reached some positive solutions. But the tension has always been quite high. So Israel is a country that developed its engineering skills and high technology skills, but for the military sector, and then adapted those skills to the civil engineering sector. So all the skills and the expertise was born in the military sector. Nowadays, Israel invests mainly in these sectors, cross-sector. For instance, cybersecurity is a cross-sectoral skill, forensic analysis, quantic cryptography, encryption are typical Israeli skills. As regards precision of farming, it has developed hand in hand with agri-tech, because I was saying the culture of this country in the 19th century was mainly agricultural, and the objective has always been to try and make this country bloom from the agricultural point of view. Here, this is a governmental graphic, and I'm here on behalf of business trade, which represents the Ministry for Entrepreneurship in Italy. These are the top 5 sectors for investments in Israel, and Israel works mainly in these fields, also for startups. I'll try to skip some parts. This is the demographic data. Maybe the most important part of this slide is the population is today divided. Nowadays, the population has these subdivisions. So 28% of the population is included between 0 and 12 years old, and 12% is over 65 years old. So you can see that this is a very young country, a country that invests on young people. This is some data about unemployment. We saw great crisis in the past, but nowadays Israeli companies who have unemployment rates which are higher are placed in Europe or in the US. So it's not Israel that has a problem of unemployment, but the corporations. Here, as to the territory and the energy, there are 2 operational gas fields producing 690 billion cubic meters of gas, and this gas is exported also to Egypt and Jordan, which were enemies back then and now have commercial and trade synergies with Israel. Here, this is the progress of GDP and the comparison between Italian, US and Israeli GDP, and you can see the progress of GDP of the 3 countries. As you can see, Israel's is a bit higher even than the US's. The numbers of a startup nation, there are 587 agreements signed for mergers and acquisitions and public offers. which amount to $70 billion. There are 6,400 operational startups in Israel. This is 2019 data. Unfortunately, we don't have updated data. The data hasn't been consolidated. I'll try to be briefer and be faster. Some corporations are set in Israel, Intel being one of them and the first. And here the Israeli lesson is that somehow there are some strengths which I've listed here: an ecosystem of institution, culture of innovation and research and development, the uniqueness of the population, which is very young. Banks, unlike other banks in the world, have technological skills and they know the investments. Also the presence of great international corporations, big data, artificial intelligence, which have been the target of investments, cybersecurity and the CyberSpark network, which is a community that involves universities, the government, and the companies. The message I'd like you to bring home is that in the past, Israel looked at the United States as a partner until 2019. The great Chinese presence in terms of funds as well made it possible for the Chinese to take over most Israeli startups. But now also maybe due to the pandemic that pushed the Chinese away from Israel, made it possible for Israel to look at Europe. Many Israeli startups are located in Europe and in Italy as well, and in the UK. And we believe we can help and collaborate with Italian companies in agricultural field. Very often the Israeli look for partners for co-planning and co-designing. I know I am very late. I'm going to cut. I'm not going to talk about agri-tech because my colleagues will talk about it. But all are based upon the 17 goals and the Agenda 2030. These are the references for Israel Trade, which represents the ministry in Italy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tiziana. Let's talk about technology and research in Sardinia. Also, the region of Sardinia invests in this field since 1994. We've had CRS4, one of the first regions to have a research center. Carlo Rubbia, former Nobel laureate, chaired the center. I wish to give the floor to the professor to talk about innovation in Sardinia, thanks to the contribution of CRS4. Good morning, everyone. I'm afraid I was a bit late because we've had quite a tight schedule during the last few days. I wish to pay tribute to everyone and to welcome everyone. Thank you for having me. Thanks to Mario Carboni and Miro Spinazzola, who I see here on the first row, and who invited CRS4 to participate in this event. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Davvero un saluto carissimo a tutti.
I wish to welcome everyone every man and woman present here today. I know that the Israeli ambassador is participating online, so I wish to pay tribute also to the greatest authority of Israel participating today, and all the rest of the authorities who are here in the room and online. So thanks to everyone. I'm here since I serve as the director of CRS4 since I've worked for it since 2020, but I've always been very close to agriculture in general. During my spare time, I clear my my plot of land and I prune my trees. So it's something that is not very close to my professional profile, but I am very close to agriculture and to nature in general. So I'm very sensitive to this topic. So I welcomed your invitation also for this reason, because invitation is something that is very close to me as a person. I bring a message from CRS4, a message for our stakeholders who should know us very well, but sometimes they don't, and also a message for our Israeli friends. I met the head of the delegation here, so I pay tribute to him for being here today. And I hope that at the end of the day, we could also talk about the contribution that CRS4 can make to our collaboration. I don't want to be very long. I would like to highlight a couple of topics and to show you what CRS4 can do to collaborate on this territory. Some results have been achieved, but Tiziana Allegra mentioned a couple of things which are very interesting to me, in particular focusing on the technological and scientific domains. So I would like to openly say that we are available for collaborating in the framework of European funding schemes. So consider us as available. Tiziana Allegra highlighted this. It is very important for Sardinia to become appealing for great industrial companies in the agricultural sector. So if Israeli companies decide to also relocate here in Sardinia, I would say that it could be a very interesting opportunity for Sardinia also. Let's move to the second slide. Let's talk about CRS4 and its assets. We manage a research center, ICT hub. I don't want to go into detail, but just let me underline that we do have some infrastructures available. When Professor Rubia had chaired CRS4, the center had some of the best equipment available at that time. That kind of philosophy, focusing on the latest technologies available and acquiring them, has been the same over the years. So at the moment we enjoy high quality equipment. Last year we participated, we launched a project focusing on high-performance computing. So, another infrastructure that is available at our center that is very interesting also for species characterization, plant species characterization is the gene sequencing equipment. It's a platform that is one of the largest in Italy, probably, and I would say surely we will invest on it and we will expand it. CRS4 is a consortium-based company. We have 11-12 million euro income statement, 132 employees, 6 sectors available. 45% of the resources necessary to go on with our activity come from public funding, from the participation in calls for proposals. These are three pictures showing the data collection capacity of our center. We use satellite, drones, and IoTs. Thanks to IoT, data collection is quite effective on the local territories. We mount them on both on the ground and on the farming equipment. An aspect is very important to consider. Sometimes we don't have any connectivity in the middle of the field, so mobile phones do not work very well, but CRS4 has developed a 4G, but also a 5G is under development. Technology makes it possible for our equipment to create a sort of bubble anywhere in the world. In Sardinia, we are already doing this, but also in Israel, we can also contribute to that. So we are not only asking for technology from Israel, but we are able to provide technology and technological solutions also to Israel. Let me just go on. We have this technology, proprietary 5G technology that is able to create a sort of bubble of connectivity anywhere on the field. So this is quite interesting. We have used lately this technology during a very unfortunate event during the crash of a dam, the collapse of a dam. But we've also been collaborating with the civil protection organization. Thanks to this sort of this sort of bubble, we are able to monitor all the activities during the actual rescue activities or drills, for example, or calamity. So we are able to implement that very easily. Another very relevant topic, also thanks to the availability of data processing technology, is big data management. So we can manage a huge amount of data. This is something that is very familiar to you all. CRS4 has become quite good at this. Let me just say that. Following the management of big data, we also have the capacity to process the information and create and implement those data in artificial intelligence-based technology and modeling and simulations. We have the capacity to create models in order to simulate through a computer real-life situations. And so this is something that is very easily applicable within a collaboration framework. Let me just make some examples. Here we have this image is a multispectral image providing information about shadows and the top of trees in an olive grove. Another example relating to the data analysis and processing. We have, for example, the ability to provide temperature and NDVI indexes information, which are quite important to plan correctly agricultural activities. Even if we don't work on robotics, we have the chance to use, well, let's say, to exploit, to make available the data that we have. And also to collect, to reprocess the data provided by robotics. So we don't work on robotics, but we are able to reprocess the data made available by the use of robots. And let me just close my speech with the last comment. Microweeds, micro-seaweeds are quite interesting, as you all know. This topic, let me tell this to our Israeli friends, even if this is not very common, this is not common knowledge, we have a great experience in Sardinia in the use of micro-seaweeds, and you will find it amazing when you see how much experience and expertise we have in Sardinia. So I suggest everyone here to take into account to further develop our activities in the use of micro-seaweeds. Lately, a project has been approved, 140 million euro worth project was approved. The University of Sassari was the first, let's say, the principal authority to submit the project. The project that I talk about focuses on the use of micro-seaweeds in the absence of gravity. No, please keep this image. On the right, you see a clinostator. It's a tool that may help simulate zero gravity conditions on the ground. And this is the first step to develop a potential production of microalgae, micro-seaweeds, microalgae in space or in fields which will provide produce for the next 50 to 100 years. So even if we look into the future, I'm pretty sure that there are no boundaries for our future development. So let me just close my remark by saying that we are very proud for the work that we have done so far. Thank you.
Grazie al professor Cao.
Thank you, Professor Cao.
Ora iniziamo un altro momento di questa mattinata
I
di
would like
lavoro con una tavola rotonda.
to give the floor to the following panel. We have a roundtable. I kindly ask the participants to take their seats. Nicola Gherardi from Confagricoltura, the national coordination. Agostino Curreli from the General Directorate of the Council of Agriculture of Sardinia, Giuseppe Cucurese, President of the Regional Commission of the Banco di Sardegna, the Sardinian Bank, and Rossella Racugno and Antonio Solinas from the world, from the domain of startups, and in particular from the startups focusing on the call for proposals and tenders search automated system. So I kindly ask you all to take your seat.
Abbiamo a disposizione mezz'ora, quindi con
we have half an hour,
interventi abbastanza
so I kindly ask everyone to be quite brief, maybe 3 questions for each of you might be an option. Let's start with Nicola Gherardi from Confagricoltura. I ask you to a remark about the connection with technology, between technology and the Sardinian, Italian agricultural sector. What are the future prospects for agriculture in Italy and Sardinia by the use of technology? The president of the region was mentioning that fields are quite parcelized, so there are a lot of very small fields. So what could change through technology? So thank you, everyone. I wish to pay tribute to every one of you. Chenàbura, thank you, President Carboni and Mr. Spinazzola for organizing this event and all the rest of the people. I wish to spend a few words about let's say the context we work in. We must remember that the birth rate in Italy is very low. Over the last 40 years, we've seen basically double the world population.
Ci dice che abbiamo bisogno di
FAO
il 70% della nostra capacità produttiva. Come fare a questo punto?
FAO is urging us to improve the production of food stock to meet the future demand. We have technology on our side and research on our side, so focusing on that is very important. We cannot refrain from investing in technology and research.
A livello europeo siamo lo Stato che investe meno sotto questo profilo, poco più dell'1% del PIL contro una media europea che è del 2,4%.
Unfortunately,
è quella legata all'innovazione tecnologica di cui si è fatto accenno prima. Il professor Cao ha citato.
Unfortunately, we have a problem connected to technological innovation. The size of companies might be seen as a problem, as an issue, because companies are very small. But I must say that in some production sectors, we can say that the size of a company is not a problem. We need to provide more technology also to small companies. President Mele also mentioned the availability of workforce. We have a problem, yes, so we know that we have a problem. We need to boost, for example, robotics, because we cannot rely on the availability of workforce in the future. So So at the moment,
se potete accendere il microfono, si sente in sala, sì. La frammentazione quindi può anche non essere uno svantaggio, ma può
so fragmentation might become a benefit for the future. It might be an opportunity for small companies to develop new technology. So what about the funding? What about the funding provided by the region of Sardinia? Is the institutional framework ready to provide resources to companies? Thanks to everyone. The region of Sardinia is ready to face these challenges. However, we cannot say that it is ready for all challenges. The region of Sardinia has to take into account complex administrative and management procedures connected to public funding. It is quite a complex situation. In particular, when we tap from European resources. It's not only about the capacity to manage funds, but also it is very much connected to the limits, into the boundaries of the use of European funds. Talking about innovation and precision agriculture, the region believes that this is the future. We have been working on the latest rural development plan. The plan includes also quite an investment in the technological support of companies working in livestock farming and dairy industry. We tried to support companies who suffer from the lack of workforce by using cutting-edge technology. The National Resilience Plan will give us the resources to mechanize and to automate production. 500 million will be spent to innovate companies. 3 million will be devoted to Sardinia. Also, the oil-making industry will benefit from additional funding. We need to boost the production capacity. And some farms will also benefit from additional funding for the automation of the production processes.
Vengano emanati dalle regioni entro il 31 marzo, quindi a breve vedremo questo.
By the end of March, we will be able to launch the call. So I believe that there are opportunities to be exploited. A sector, I believe, should be developed further. I refer in particular to the protection of crops from weather conditions, harsh weather conditions. Weather conditions are quite an issue for farmers. Risk management is indeed a hard problem to face, but I believe that automation and innovation may provide the tools to tackle harsh weather conditions in a more effective way. There are some technologies also already available and some solutions which companies may immediately use. So thanks for your contribution. I give the floor to a representative of banks. Banks can become a very important stakeholder for the support of technology and implementation of new solutions by farmers. So how can banks be beneficial, be of help?
Sì, grazie, buongiorno a tutti, ma oggi ovviamente parlo col cappello ABI, quindi cappello di sistema e non del banco, no? Perché se dovessi parlare col cappello del banco avrei ancora più cose da dire, però qualcosa ho da dire. Intanto ho seguito con grande attenzione la presentazione della dottoressa Allegra per quanto riguarda, diciamo, i punti di forza, no? Di come Israele è arrivata, no, ai traguardi che ha raggiunto e a quelli che deve ancora raggiungere. E uno degli aspetti che ha evidenziato è quello che in Israele c'è anche un sistema bancario che analizza i progetti e li capisce, no? Perché era sottointeso. Beh, ecco, quello che posso dire è che per fortuna, ecco, questo sistema c'è anche in Sardegna, c'è anche in Italia, però visto che siamo in Sardegna parliamo della Sardegna. Perché? Perché rispetto a tanti anni fa, quando in effetti in agricoltura operavano delle sezioni speciali delle banche, quindi alcune erano preparate, altre no, e quindi quelle che non lo erano restavano fuori, no? Poi col passare degli anni c'è stata anche la riforma e oggi direi tutte le banche principali hanno capito l'importanza dell'agricoltura. Perché questo? Innanzitutto per la sua componente, almeno sull'economia italiana, al risultato complessivo, ma soprattutto se guardiamo oggi i dati di finanziamento erogati al settore dell'agricoltura, dati nazionali, oggi abbiamo un 5,4% del complessivo dell'erogato riguarda specificatamente l'agricoltura e il trend di crescita degli ultimi anni dell'erogato è superiore agli altri settori, quindi vuol dire che c'è una forte attenzione all'agricoltura, attenzione che peraltro è riconfermata proprio di recente, qui parliamo
There's a great attention towards
la PNRR. Cioè, evidentemente noi sappiamo che
agriculture. We know that the National Resilience and Recovery Plan played major attention to agriculture, and great funds have been allocated. Also in Sardinia will receive between 6 and 7 billion euro, 1.2 billion of which for the production chain. And this is a great, a unique opportunity for Sardinia, and Sardinia, because of the size of its companies, is going to benefit from these funds to create a production chain, and it will make our island grow. We cannot miss this train. And then, as you said earlier, this is agriculture 5.0. The 4.0 was digitalization and big data. Now we have evolved from there. And this phase looks very carefully at the environmental friendly aspects and the sustainability aspects, and the recovery of wastewater, for instance. We saw the examples of Israel. It is very important for us. We saw that Israel has 50% of desertic territory, but this aspect is important for us too. So we can, luckily, we can count on specialists, that is, people who are focused on the agricultural sector, and so they are available to analyze and assess the projects. As you know, banks can finance but also authorize projects. We have some contracts we signed with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Cassa Depositi e Prestiti to analyze the projects and assess the projects from the National Recovery and Resilience Plan and approve them. So the bank has to approve the projects. So now we will have the, I wouldn't say unlimited funds, but definitely adequate to Sardinia. Of course, we need projects, we need to develop them and implement them, taking all the opportunities offered by Sardinia. And let's not forget that precision agriculture, for instance, in the wine sector, let's think of all the innovations that we've implemented over the years. For instance, Mosca first irrigated their huge land with sprayers, whereas nowadays they are using satellite drip irrigation. This has been an investment, but we need these kind of investments. The problems we are going to face nowadays are the impacts of the climate and the climate change. This has to be taken into account, and the authorities are paying great attention to this in the assessment of a company. The climatic aspect is being taken into account. What does the company do to protect themselves from the risk of climate change? For instance, if we think about Puglia and the invasion of the Xylella, the pest that attacked the olive groves, meant that the company lost a lot of money. So we need tools to cover for pests, or let's talk about locusts in Sardinia, or the freezing of the vineyards. So we need to exploit all the advantages offered by the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, also to cover from these risks. We are not talking about this nowadays, but the European Central Bank told the main banks to make a census to evaluate and to include the risk assessment in the assessment of the companies. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but we'll have to be prepared in this sense to exploit all the technological opportunities offered by Israel. For instance, Professor Cao told us we're not lacking that much behind, so we can make a collaboration agreement and find our own space, our place in this context. Dr. Cucurese is introducing the topic, the hot topic today. There will be a lot of funds available from the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. The region of Sardinia itself, thanks to the renegotiation with the state of some items in the budget, has greater funds, and most of these funds will be allocated to the farming sector. But the main element is how to get to these funds, how do startups have access to these funds? What can we do? Hello, my name is Rossella Racugno. I'm one of the founders of Banzai. Thanks for inviting me. I'm going to talk about how to get the funds. One of the questions I get asked is, are there funds for me? Banzai is an innovative startup. It's a spin-off of a Play consulting agency, and in its 10 years of experience, there's a great disalignment between funds and allocation. So there are various factors. First of all, there's a lack of awareness of how public finance works in Italy. Moreover, there's a basic complexity to understand the measure, because very often it's written in a difficult language, and then there is a difficulty in looking for the tenders in the right places. So we've started to work on Banzai, which is a digital assistant, which is able to automatically get the information contained in tenders and offer a pre-filtered selection for the company. When registering, we asked to upload the last balance of the company. After that, the user gets to a screen where only the measures which are accessible or adequate for that company are visible. For instance, here, the user can see the description and the requirements and the funds available, but also the application information. The user can also download all the forms to be filled and the indexes. The first one is compatibility, how the funds for this tender are adequate to the activities of the startup, and then the possibility to access, and then the competition, how many companies can get to those funds. So how hard is the competition? I'm sorry, I'm going very fast. It is possible to decouple and carry out researches by project, so indicating cost items or the location of the foreseen investment or the budget needed by the entrepreneur, by the user. And the system returns the tenders and the possibilities for funding. Then there are some simulation tools. These are tools that help the entrepreneur to draft the first budget and sending a warning if the funds requested are higher than the funds available. And then it is possible to simulate the impact of the funding on the implementation of the project for the company. The same is done on the projects already implemented, so it is possible to simulate tax credit, for instance. Banzai is a ever-developing tool. We have a collaboration with the IT department of the University of Cagliari to introduce semantic algorithms to help entrepreneurs to draft a project, and then we are trying to include the human component on a totally digital tool. So we are trying to train our consultants to support entrepreneurs to understand the tenders and in drafting the projects with the aim of scaling this service. So we're trying to enlarge the network to make it available throughout Italy. Here you've got some references. You can try it out. There's a trial version, and the other one you can. It's my email address. Our email address. You can get in touch for further information. So thank you for inviting me here.
Antonio Solinas.
Antonio Solinas. My name is Antonio Solinas. I'm a Research and Development Director of Abyssa that didn't work in the agricultural sector, but with automotive. But I went to Israel for the automotive, and we have a spin-off for cybersecurity, and we have been working on the precision farming for some years now, and we're bringing the automotive technologies in the precision farming world. The first application was the tractors with a partner called Thotel, which is very strong, and we develop GPS precision systems that allow tractors to go on the field with a precision of 2 centimeters, and then we extended this. We created a working group called Agritech, and since 2013 we've been using tax aid to bring innovation within our company. So what we did for the automotive sector, we are now doing it for the precision farming sector. I coordinated 23 research projects at a regional, national, and European level. I'd like to show you some examples to give you an idea of the opportunities that we've grasped together. We hope we can grow in the future. Our working group is called Agri, which comes from the root agreement, and of course sounds like agriculture. And it's a working group that works, that includes Lively and Abinsula. Lively produces sensors for precision farming, normally for digital artisans. So we sold 3,000 sensors in Italian schools where children can start learning what it means to program equipment within orchards and vegetable gardens. And then we have a startup called the Primo Principio, which is specialized in the wine sector. We made an agreement called Agritech. I'm not going into details as to what is precision farming, because today we'll see all the advantages, but I'm going to show you all the projects, or at least a summary of them. The first one is Nicolaus, which is the acronym for Network Intelligent Computing with Observation Satellites for Precision Agriculture Unified Census. Copernicus was the first European network that allows us to have the information. We carried out this with CRS4, and our skills, together with theirs, produce satellite data maps with remote sensing with sensors to give advice to our farmers. We saw it for artichoke sector, but it can be applied to a lot of other sectors. This is a regional important asset. We get the data from Copernicus of the last 3 years on our service. We can see all the maps without clouding. Other projects. I'm going to show you all the slides. Another project is a platform for environmental monitoring. We developed a platform especially for the wine sector through regional funds, and apart from giving a digital notebook. We are going to give all the companies, but under some fee, it is possible to access some indicators of some pests to be able to foresee the presence or the arrival of pests. These were all regional projects, as well as these two Prisma and Acquadori projects, where we monitored the production of compost through worms, using butchering waste, so meat waste, and we developed a sensor for the vineyards together with two large wine producers in Sardinia. Here you see the pictures of artichoke, here you see saffron. These are all part of the Sardinian agricultural system, where we try to bring all our skills, remote sensing through drones or satellites, or monitoring through sensors. There are various EU projects. These are projects for the vineyard or the wine sector. This is a station that we have. Last week, and I didn't have the time to include the slide, but last week, Linea Verde, which is an important program from the national television, came to Cagliari and made a beautiful episode on Cagliari, and we showed how to do vegetable gardening for the well-being of the elderly, and we showed how 60 old people have improved their well-being, became more active, and started to learn the digital activity for vegetable gardening, through vegetable gardening. So all these projects are regional, national, and European, and have in situ application. It's not just the research for the sake of it. So thank you very much.
Grazie. Erano previsti almeno 2 giri di domande, i tempi non ci sono. Quindi
I'm afraid we're a bit behind schedule, so I'm afraid that we have to stop here, but thank you for providing so many details, interesting information about the potential for the collaboration. Thank you, everyone. So we take a small break. So thank you, Nicola Gherardi, Agostino Curreli, Giuseppe Cucurese, Rossegna Pugno, and Antonio Solinas. I'll see you in a few minutes. I kindly ask everyone to take a seat. Our Israeli friends talk in English, so first we'll have a short introduction by Amletulia. He's a farmer, but he is very active. Very active. He's very much active in listening to what is going on around about innovation. I think he is the person, the perfect person to talk about robotic perception.
Buongiorno.
Good morning.
Buongiorno
you can hear me. Good morning, everyone. I kindly ask Chenàbura for inviting me, Bruno for inviting me, and Sardinia for hosting me.
Credo di essere stato invitato perché in questo convegno sono un po' forse la voce
Maybe I'm here because I represent the voice of farmers in general. I would like to share some thoughts about this. My company is based in Apulia. I mostly produce grapes. Maybe you're wondering why a man from Apulia is here in Sardinia. I'm here because together with my Israeli friends, I'm running a test field, 2-3 hectares a test field to see how technology can actually roam around our fields. A brief introduction about Israeli agriculture and the current situation. Israel is not the promised land for agriculture. Israel is quite a desert area. It never rains. Bugs and plant diseases are available there. Mostly available there. Israeli farmers innovate because they have to. It's not just because they like technology, it's because they need to innovate. When I was younger, I read an Intel head's book who said that only paranoics survive. 75% of orange production was not sold last year, and 50% of grapes were not sold this year. Confagricoltura representatives are here. Apulia is a great producer of grapes. We produce more than the rest of Europe produces. So as you can imagine, if grapes are not sold from Apulia, we have a huge problem at the international level. Algeria, Turkey, Morocco are great players in the sector. So we need to also, in a way, face their production. So this is why we have to innovate. We can use drones. Flying drones, which are used on open field productions, where for example drones are, but we also have land drones, so rovers, which can be used for greenhouse productions or productions in controlled environments, such as berries, cherries. So these two types of robots can coexist. A type of product applies products, and the other kinds of robots monitors production fields. So I would like to explain to you what a robotic perception system does. They produce rovers and land drones. Basically, it looks like a tractor. We all know it very well. We all know this kind of equipment very well. The ones that we use are fueled with gasoline. Some of the drones that they do, the drones that they do, is basically unmanned, so we don't need any operator to operate the tractor. The robot monitors the field, applies pesticides, goes back to the charging station to recharge the batteries. It uses pumps to refill the tank, for example. So also pesticides and water are refilled automatically by the drones. So there's a number of factors of advantages using this technology. As you know, if we need an operator plus a piece of machinery to work, if we remove the operator, we are in a way saving 50% of our budget. The drone is very selective, so it's able to select which areas are to be operated, are to be worked. As you know, also the availability of gasoline is currently a problem, but in the future, if we use this kind of electrically powered drones, we will save money also in terms of fuel. We don't have to pay any contribution or severance pay or additional taxation for this robotic worker. So as you know, workers are exposed to injuries. They have families, so they have also problems connected to the management of their families. And if we use a robot, we remove this kind of problem from our company. I give the floor to my friend Joav to talk about this company.
Grazie, I'm going to speak in English. First of all, I want to thank Bruno for inviting me here and presenting me with this opportunity. We started talking on the phone almost 2 months ago, and it came true, and so many people are here. This is really thank you, and I'm happy to see everyone here. So Amleto, as Amleto presented, we have an autonomous robotic electric vehicle that is doing spraying and mowing in vineyards, and also collecting a lot of data to show crop yields, virus infection, irrigation requirements, and bring farming closer to being semi-autonomous, okay? With less operational costs, less risks, less use of pesticides, and a lot of advantages. We're going to show you 3 things today. First, a video of the vehicle and what it does that was taken 2 months ago. It was, I should mention, it was developed by funding of European Fund Horizon 2020, which for those of you who are not familiar with it, it is selecting only the best and most promising technologies in Europe and funding the project. So this fund was used to develop the vehicle. First of all, I'm going to show the video. Then we're going to connect to the video to the vehicle that is in Israel, and I'm going to control it with an Xbox from here. Okay? We're going to show the video, live video stream from the camera on board the vehicle, and my team is in the field just to make sure that I don't drive into trees or something. And eventually, I'll show you the design of the next the next vehicle that is going to go into production next year, and hopefully will be available to start buying it here in Italy. So let's start with the video. My name is Yoav Banid. I'm the founder and CEO of Robotic Perception. In this video, we're going to present our autonomous electric vehicle for vineyards. Our project is called Farmer Joe Bot, and in this project we have implemented a number of robotic technologies on an electric vehicle to provide autonomous mowing and autonomous spraying, as well as a web app for controlling a fleet of such vehicles and for crop management. In addition to the autonomous mower and sprayer, the vehicle was equipped with a large number of sensors and cameras, and AI modules were implemented to monitor and display for every single tree crop growth analysis, crop yields, virus detection, irrigation requirements, and a number of other such indices actually allow farmers to manage over 50% of vineyard operations autonomously and remotely, which is a huge advantage because it is expected to reduce operational costs, reduce the risk for accidents and injuries, and reduce the use of chemicals and the exposure to chemicals. All of these capabilities were developed in-house and involved a lot of technical tasks, mechanical tasks, software tasks, and also a lot of testing and integration. Here are some more details about the modules that were developed. The electric mower was designed and built in-house from scratch. It is fully electric. It is built from 5 different independent units, and it can be configured to operate in a variety of crops with row width ranging from 1 meter to 3.5 meters, and it can be configured to operate in autonomous mode and precision mode to work only when grass is detected. A standard sprayer was mounted and adjusted to support automated activation upon detection of foliage and support instantaneous flow rates. It can be activated in full spray mode, or it can be activated in precision mode, and then only when trees are detected on the left or right side, and that precision mode is expected to reduce the use of chemicals significantly. Automatic irrigation requirements calculations was implemented. Single tree detection was implemented to monitor the performance of every tree along the whole crop season. Safety features were implemented in order to stop the vehicle if needed, for example, if people are detected. And a lot of testing were done on 8 different varieties of grapevines here in Israel and also in Italy to make sure that the vehicle meets market requirements. Connect in real time to the vehicle in Israel, and I'm going to drive it a little bit. First, we're going to see it go by itself, and then I'm going to connect from the Xbox to simulate what happens if we do need if the operator needs some kind of intervention. Okay, so the concept is really that there's going to be an operator sitting in the control room. Instead of someone driving the tractor, there will be an operator driving, that's the vehicle in real time now. Let me connect. Can you see also my screen? Can you share my screen in a second? Good. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now I'm connecting to the vehicle. Okay, let's see that the signal works okay. Can you hear me? My team in Israel, can you hear me? If you can, let's start the drive. I'll send him a text message. Okay. Here we go. So this is now running in Israel. There's a team that makes sure that there's, safety-wise, there are no accidents and nothing happens. It's going to make a U-turn now and go into the next row.
The weather's nice in Israel now.
Weather's nice. It's a little bit like here in Cagliari. We lost connection. Okay, so they're having connection issues. Okay. I'll try to connect now with the remote Xbox. It was working 5 minutes ago. So this is the map. You can see the location of the vehicle here in the field, and I should be seeing the video here on the left. Let's try again. Okay.
Ecco qua, abbiamo delle piccole problemi di connessione in Israele, in realtà sul campo. Abbiamo provato di fare questa cosa perché veramente ci credevamo, comunque solamente per provare di arrivare a immaginare quanto questa cosa è fattibile. Adesso evidentemente stiamo giocando un po' a fare
So there are a bit some problems connected with the connection, but you can see that we can actually operate from a very far distance.
The vineyard is now, it's winter, so there's no leaves. It's less impressive, but you know, this is how it is in the winter. I'll try to connect now. No, we lost it. Okay, so it worked 5 minutes ago. Sorry I couldn't show it here. I think there were a couple of people here with me on stage 5 minutes ago, but anyway. So let me maybe try one more time. I get lucky.
Adesso prendiamo un po' di pazienza per farlo funzionare, ma in realtà funzionava 5 minuti fa. Abbiamo anche provato ieri sera.
5 minutes ago it was working, also yesterday night, but as you know, this is the problems during live shows.
Okay, so the interface that you're seeing here on the left, I just switched off the sprayer. I don't know if you noticed. I'll try to turn it on. This turns on the right sprayer and the left sprayer. Yeah, anyway.
So what is the kind of thing that it could do? How many controls do you have from
so I can control the more that is currently not implemented. Let me try to turn on the right sprayer. I'm going to click now. The right sprayer is disconnected. Okay. Let's turn it on again and turn on the right sprayer. Here we go. Turn on the left sprayer. Turn off the left sprayer. Turn it back on. Okay. So yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. Working partially is good enough. And the concept is that instead of having a driver on the tractor, you have an operator controlling everything from a control room, and this is a web app. Can you see? So this is a browser. This is just a standard browser. I can open new tabs and control additional vehicles. I'll go back to this one. So basically, you can have an operator control 5 vehicles. That would reduce 80% of your operating expenses for labor. We have a patent application that was filed months ago to reduce the use of pesticides, a robotic sprayer. I think that should save another 20-25% of the pesticides, which is a lot of money. There's no risk to the operator. There's not for injuries and not for uptaking pesticides. Okay, there's no one there. In the bottom line, we think it can save somewhere between 10-20% of the total cost of the vineyard if you're using one vehicle. If you're using 5-6 vehicles, you can go up to 30, 40, and maybe even 50% save of cost, which is, you know, a huge amount of money. This project was done together with Amleto. I don't know if he said he owns 100 hectares of grapes, so he's been advising us, and in vineyards here in Italy a little bit and in Israel.
Ok, se qualcuno ha qualche domanda, lui è pronto a rispondere alle domande. Non so
So
se...
if you have any questions, he is available for questions.
Yes. No, dimmelo in italiano, lo traduco. Volevo sapere se c'è intelligenza artificiale a bordo. He's asking if an AI, if the vehicle is equipped with the AI or not.
Yes. So there's a number of AI modules running both on the vehicle and in the cloud. Can you connect my screen again, please? So I just want to show you the results of these AI. AI in the vehicle. So what you see here is a heat map of the results of all of the indices. You can see them running one by one on the left there. So virus detection, crop analysis, irrigation requirements, all of these are analyzed from footage that is collected by the vehicle. The vehicle itself is doing AI to detect people, for example, and stop in case of emergency. And there's a lot of AI going on on the cloud for the analysis of the results. All kinds of images. Yes.
Can it operate in different weather conditions?
So we've used it in light rain. We haven't operated in heavy rain, but it's good that you mentioned. This is the design that we're building now. This is expected to start rolling to production next year, and that's going to go for every weather.
Non so se non sei un agricoltore, vero? Normalmente non si
Normally,
pesticidi quando piove perché
pesticides are not sprayed during rains because the effect is cancelled and no lawns are mowed.
Questo è un problema.
Because the grass sticks to the wheels, so it is impossible to use even tractors in bad weather conditions.
Okay.
Bene. Sì, il robot è elettrico, c'ha due tipi
The
di
robot is electrical. There are two types of batteries.
The power of the robot, how is powered?
Okay, so it has batteries. We have the tank that you saw is a 500-liter tank. This one is going to have 1,000 liters, and it has a refill station, which I did show, and it's going to have a recharge station as well, so we can work 24 hours, day and night.
Sì, diciamo tecnicamente ha la cisterna di 1000 litri.
Yes, technically the tank is 1,000 liters. We're trying to bring the yield of the robot between around 500 liters per hectare, trying to reduce the amount of spraying. There is an automatic station, there are QR codes. The robot turns on the hydraulic pumps, and when the tank is full, the agitator and the mixing station intervenes, and then when it's ready, it starts again.
He's asking how many working hours is the battery.
So the vehicle that you just saw is good for 70 kilometers, which is 6 to 8 hours, depending if the tank is full or not. And this one is expected to go for longer, 9-10 hours.
Diciamo, ti rispondo, se sei ad alto volume, dura molto, perché ad alto volume è praticamente tutta acqua. 10 ettari devi calcolare.
10 hectares. It takes about 5 hours to cover fire. It's not faster than Lamborghini, Carraro, or normal tractors. The advantage is not the speed. The speed of application is not really the point. The battery lasts for 8 hours, but depending on the tank. So the emptier, the longer. At night, the lights turn on, and then the battery lasts less, of course.
Non ho capito, aspetta, che vengo lì. Okay, he's asking the difference open field against greenhouses. I will answer. Per le tecnologie di campo aperto sono loro di alta. Cioè, diciamo,
for open field technologies, aerial drones are more effective. You can use the drone for watermelon, for instance. And yes, it can be used, but it's more adequate for olive groves, cherry trees, and orchards in general. Open fields where you can fly over with no obstacle, aerial solutions are probably better.
So maybe I didn't understand. So
I was saying that you can use in open field if you want. For instance, I don't know, watermelons you can use. But in some cases, the aerial drones are better than terrestrial drones. Okay. But in greenhouses, we are better.
Yes. And just for greenhouses, so this was developed for large trees like olives, grapes, and other kinds of crops. It can be adjusted and made smaller for greenhouses, but that requires investment. And open fields, like you say, drones can also be used. So one of the advantages of this one is that we have a single tree detection. Okay, all of the results that you saw earlier, we report the yields per tree. We monitor the progress of each tree along the crop season. Okay, so we have a graphs that you can expect the yield that you're going to have at the end of the year and plan accordingly.
Io volevo chiedere se lavora bene.
I'd like to ask whether it works on irregular shaped fields or on slopes, for instance, which is quite common in Italy.
It's not irregular, it's not a square, it's not a rectangle. What's the behavior of the robot? In the case he has to do a lot of U-turn, in the case this...
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I understand. You're asking if the row is not straight, if it has... Okay, so... Okay. In terms of going uphill and downhill, it has over 20% slope capability that it can go up. Obviously, if there's going to be rocks until there's some certain stage where the autonomous operation is going to stop. and then you have to still assume there's a radio control. You can come if it gets stuck, if something you can't pass. You just come to the vehicle and drive it, operate it manually with a remote, and pass this obstacle, and then you can send the autonomous driver to continue.
Allora, se non ci sono più una ultima domanda, ultimissima.
One last question, or else, okay, one last question, and then we move on to the next speaker and the next technology to show you.
Buongiorno a tutti.
Good morning.
Qua vediamo dei lavori
Here we see
di trattamento.
Treatment operations.
Di campagna abbiamo anche lavorazioni di terreno.
We also plow and till the soil. What can you do with these type of machines?
Okay.
We discussed it
Yes,
yesterday.
so the next design is going to come with a PTO in the back. PTO in Italian.
Una presa di forza. PTO, una presa di forza.
And then you can connect any device that you have now that you connect to other tractors. You can connect to this as well. The power that is going to be available on the PTO is probably going to be somewhere between 5 and 10 horsepower. 10 is a lot. I'm not sure we're going to get there, but 5 I think is reasonable. And then as long as the plow is not like a heavy-duty big thing, but kind of a restricted size, then it's going to work.
Ti rispondo, la domanda è circostanziata. Un grosso aratro dipende da quanto scendi giù nel terreno e dipende dalla cultura. Chi è in non cultura non ara, quindi non hai bisogno. Chi è in cultura, se vuoi arare a 10 cm dal terreno, quindi con un aratro molto leggero, non c'è problema, lo puoi fare, anche perché la presa di forza è poca, insomma, se devi usare presa di forza o trince, eccetera, lo puoi fare. Se devi arare molto profondamente non è lo strumento adatto, in nessun modo, perché se devi arare profondamente hai bisogno di cavalli che il robot non può dare. È per l'uva? Per che cosa? In generale non è realmente fatto, è fatto per trinciare, non proprio per arare.
Okay, Bruno, you want me off the stage? Thank you very much for coming.
Grazie. Allora, il suo progetto è già lanciato, ovviamente sono da anni adesso che...
This project has been launched. They've been working on this for many years. The Israeli system is very particular in terms of incentives and aid and investments. For instance, Italian startups get to receive about €1 billion aid, whereas the startups in Israel get 17 billion, so we really cannot compete. All the
how do you call them exactly?
All the companies. Okay. What I'd like to ask you is that you are interested in the mechanism. You can show your interest, so he can go back and show that there are expressions of interest in his project, and that multiplies the incentives coming from the government. So we've we supported the robotics perception, and thanks to this support coming from us, they received consistent and significant funds to keep working on the project. So they have a new robot. We are adjusting the product to the Italian system. Of course, the habits, farming habits are different, and so of course there is the fine-tuning to be done with this technology. Now I'd like to invite Yoav Motro on stage, and we move on to the drone system by Alta, but before moving to Alta, I'd like to introduce you to Yoav Motro, who is the representative of the Ministry for Agriculture of Israel. His name is Mr. Locust, Mr. Grasshopper.
Signor Cavalletta,
and
quando ci sono delle campagne, quando ci sono delle aggressioni,
there are upsurges of locusts in Israel, the country holds and takes everything very seriously. Whenever he asks for equipment and resources, you can only see his face on television, and every time he asks for equipment or resources, he takes precedence even on the militaries, on the soldiers. So the soldiers move away and leave the command in his hands, which is very important in a country such as Israel. He came over to Otana some months ago. He analyzed the situation. He already managed various campaigns against locusts in Jordan, in Ethiopia, in countries where the locusts take over. Nobody gets any food from the field. People get hungry. And we talk about famine. So the campaign against the locusts must be successful. So his method, the method he derived from this experience, and is the key, the cornerstone of his activity, and I hope he will have something to do here in Sardinia. So here you have the floor.
Grazie. Buongiorno. It's a pleasure to be here with so many guests. As probably Bruno said, I didn't understand everything. Probably Bruno said it all, but I will emphasize. Part of my job is to be in charge of the battle against locusts in Israel. And we developed a method. We developed a method of working. And this method can reflect on other things. We can use it as an allegoria for other things. First of all, the first thing that we do is that the head of the operation is in the field. There is a committee that is office people. There is a committee that tells the head of the operation what to do, but he's in the field. And then he needs to coordinate all the different aspects of the job. There is the people who search for the locust, for the cavallette. Nowadays we do it, Thomas. Nowadays we do it with drones. Tomer Regev is one of our top drone people in Israel. And then after the locust is found, we don't just spray them. We track them. We track them to see where they go to sleep. Why is that? Because at night, they're not active, they're not moving. We have an advantage. And to spray them at night, it's something that I developed with Yoav Muller. To spray them at night means that you have 12 hours for you. You just need to know where they are. And because it's at night, you have to have everything ready. So I also keep a logistics officer. He knows what to bring, to where, when. He knows exactly to prepare everything for the people during the night. So we have a scout team, usually using drones that follow the follow the cavallette, and map exactly where they are, where they're going to sleep. And we have a sprayer team that comes at night, and we have a supply team, a logistics team, to make sure that everybody has everything. It sounds easy. It's not. And because everything is new, and because we develop the system within the field, we need also scientific backup. And I have a word about scientists. We have a scientist with us among here today. Where are you, Arturo? Arturo, we have a scientist. I have a good thing and a bad thing to say about scientists. They know a lot. That's a good thing. The bad thing is sometimes it's difficult to bring this knowledge to the ground. To bring this knowledge to the farmer, to bring this knowledge to the operator. And I keep a team of scientists that will bridge this gap, that will connect the people from the science to the people in the field. And these are the teams. This is how we work. And then there's the top thing. To beat locust, you really need to want to win. You have to operate at night. You have to operate in harsh weather. You have to operate in winter, in weekends. You really need to want to win. And it's not simple, and locust always surprises us. Each time I meet locust, it's a bit of a different story, which is why we need the scientists there. Which is why we need the science to understand the biology of the locust and the crops and the chemicals. But it can be done. And I'm using this as an allegory. If we are to connect technology to our methods, we need to know how to connect it. It's not just something that will run my farm and I can go live in the city. No. We need to know how to connect it, and I think this is the main challenge, because the technology is far ahead. In this little thing, I've got so much information, so much capability, so it's amazing. But how to connect it to what we need on the ground, to need in agriculture, which is usually low-tech, that's a challenge, and a challenge that we need to gap. We need to gap this challenge. We need to take it. And actually, we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. Last week, the world celebrated 8 billion, 8 miliardi people. More and more people eating more and more, they don't want to eat all varieties of grapes, they don't want to eat all varieties of apples, they don't want to eat this, they don't want to eat that spoiled. That's a good thing. And another problem that we have is that we're very conscious of how much pesticide we're going to eat. I'm happy to say that our kids are eating less pesticides than when we ate when we were kids. Our parents ate a lot of pesticides, more than we're going down with pesticides. We're going down with environmental problems. We're more aware of the environment, and we still want to be able to feed all the world. It's a challenge. It's a challenge that technology will have to be helping us. We will need to, like Yoav, we're all Yoavs here. It's very easy to know. Israeli Yoav, there is a Tomer, and we'll find another one afterwards. We are introducing new technology. To bring it to the ground is difficult. To use it from the ground is difficult at the first stage. But if we are to think of the future, if we are to feed this world that is expanding, and we are to feed it well, we need to think of the ways to incorporate this technology in our farming. I want to say another thing. Israel and Sardinia are similar in many ways, in very many ways, which is why I feel at home here, I think. Israel and Sardinia are similar in many ways. One of the ways is that the locust will not kill us. It will not kill us. It might harm some farmers, yes. It might reduce the produce a bit, yes. It will not kill us. So we have the technology and the opportunity here in Sardinia and in Israel to upgrade the battle against locust for the world in places where locust does kill them, in places where locust does cause hunger. And I think we should take this opportunity and responsibility to bring the battle against locust to the next level. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Allora, adesso volevamo farvi vedere la Alta. La Alta
I give the floor to Alta.
Nel mezzo di tutte le ditte
This company was chosen among many companies working on drones. It was selected by the ministry, the Israeli ministry, to fight the national issue of locusts and other pests and bugs, rodents, for example.
Come si dice? Non lo so. Comunque mi avete capito. Okay, scusatemi. Parassiti, grazie. Grazie. Dunque, hanno messo su una tecnica da questo punto di vista con i droni.
So they are working with drones. Also in this case, we're going to take a look at drones in Israel, so I give the floor to...
Che anche lui è venuto qui, insomma, ha fatto delle cose abbastanza impressionanti nel suo passaggio precedente e adesso ne dirà di più.
Yes, Tomer, he's been very active over the last...
And thank you very much, Bruno, for the
Thank you, Bruno.
invitation and for the warm hospitality
Grazie,
here
Bruno.
in Sardinia. It's our great pleasure and a great honor to be here, and thank you for coming. First of all, let's introduce us. My name is Tomer Regev. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Alta Innovation. With me, Mr. Dotan Dadon. Dede is the nickname. He is the CTO of Alta. And Mr. Yoav Muller. He is the professional exterminator and our private chef. When we're going out to the field, you must have a private chef with you. It's very important for you to eat very good while you're walking. Okay, so today we're going to present you a few innovative solutions, precision agriculture solutions using drones. That's our main mission on the last 5 years. Every project you're going to see here is a project that with paying customers. It's not a startup, it's not something in an idea or something like that. It's something working with the paying customers, and we're going to show you immediately. We'll just make the preference displays. So, we made on the last few, maybe we're going to have chance in the next few minutes. We have, as we speak right now, we have teams in the field, and maybe we're going to have a luck and we can connect with them and to see what they are doing right now. So, our first project that we are going to show you is a project that we developed. Yeah, main display. Okay, while we're trying to solve these connecting issues, we will tell you that our first project, his connection with the Dr. Yoav Motor, with the Minister of Agriculture, just present his Cavalette project before, and we tried to find solution against the rodents control. As you know, rodents are being a very, very problematic thing in the crop fields. in Israel, but it's a world problem, also in Sardinia. And we try to find solution that we will be able to precision poisoning the rodents in the field and not make a broadcast poisoning. So now we have the screen, everything is working. You can see us, that's us in the field. And as we talked, we can see that we won on the last few years a few supported $1 million grants by the Israel Innovation Authority, the Israeli Minister of Agriculture, and also the Minister of Economy. And all of these projects help us to become and work with more projects and to be able to develop more solutions. So we talked about the first solution that we talked about, these tiny rodents over here. It looks cute, but it's made a lot of problem. It's make a crop damage. And we're talking about a lot of crop, a lot of yields that going to waste because of the rodents that's eating the crop fields. And while we trying to understand what is the alternative right now, we understand that there is only broadcast spraying. It means the airplane is coming and broadcast, make us spread the granular poison, which is a really bad poison, and is spreading all over the field. That's without understanding where you need to put the poison and where you not. You just spread all over the field. We're trying to specifically identify the rodents area, and we saw that we can make it, while we are mapping the field, we can see exactly the rodents area, if it's holes, or if it's the places that we can see that there is a crop damage, and understand that we need to put the poison inside these areas, but that only in these specific areas, not all over the field. So how it works? First solution, first step, we are mapping the area. We are mapping the field with high resolution cameras. We're doing it. Thank you. Very exciting to be here. It's vodka. First thing we do is mapping the area, mapping the fields with high resolution cameras. We're doing it with RTK technology. It means it's going to be very precisely the things we're going to exactly locate the rodents area. As you can see in the picture here, we developed AI technology software that can analyze exactly the specific rodents activities area and to mark them with these red points and to be able to spread only above the red points, not all over the field. And the last step we developed, leading by Ido Kugel, Mr. Ido Kugel, co-founder and the R&D manager, we developed Gaia system, custom-made granular poisoning system that can be spread only above the identified areas. Let's see a short movie, and then we'll take it from there.
A rise in rodent-related damages to fields and crops. Today, farmers lack the means to understand the gravity of this problem until the damage has already been done. Growers are left powerless over this rising problem, accounting for a major loss of their produce every year. Alta's solution offers farmers the ability to gain real-time aerial visibility of their crops, enabling a better understanding as to the real problems they face. Once the crop has been photographed, Alta's solution applies its smart algorithm to pinpoint all rodent habitats and mark each one over a map. Once all points are marked, Alta's system transmits the waypoints to its drones, who are then deployed to surgically dust the crops only above the designated pre-planned waypoints. When dealing with rodents, aerial crop dusting for decades has been the necessary evil. Our teams of field engineers can cover thousands of acres of land in a single day while only using 10% of the pesticide used prior, generating considerable savings for farmers in the areas of time, money, and resources. Alta works tirelessly to assist farmers globally by providing them with capabilities which were unavailable prior. The results are evident. Farmers are able to eradicate rodent damages, generate higher quality produce while remaining eco-friendly. Alta, Precision Agritech Solutions.
So, we can see the video and we can understand that with this method, we can save a lot of pest control. We're talking about saving up to 90% pest control compared to the other method with the compound 1080 with the airplane using broadcast all over the field. We are much more cost effective and it's environmental friendly. And by that, we are selling in Israel in the last 4 years 100,000 of hectares, and we are very happy to start the growth season right now as we speak. Next project we are going to, another thing, yeah, it's a good slide. Another thing that we are allowing SDI, subsoil drip irrigations. We have a connection with cooperation with Netafim company, and with our technology, we are able to set up the SDI irrigation systems in the crop fields and to be able to yield the crop growing every year. And it's worth a lot of money also to Netafim, also to the farmers, and by that we make a solution by win-win solution for everyone. Second project, we're going to show you now a Venus system breakthrough solution developed by Alta. You cannot reach this system, and she's working on the last 3 years all over Israel and in another country overseas, spreading the splat material pheromone. The splat, we have a cooperation with Luxembourg company from Israel, and she's selling this system. She's selling the material, and we make cooperation together that we're taking Venus system and spreading the splat material, and it's a paste. So it's very challenging to be able to put 1.6 grams per each tree. You're going to see it immediately. And we developed Venus systems. It looks like that. It's carried by the drone, and it's be able to be very, very fast and very efficient, because this paste, as you see, it's like a cream, like a paste of 1.6 grams. We need to put it on the top of the trees. It's a sexual, confusing pheromone. And by that, we can be able, with this material, with this pest control, to get up to 3 months of confusing the males by the smells of the females. And it works very, very good. We will show you a quick video, how it looks from the eye of the drone. And you can see how it's going to spread them very, very fast. We're talking about speeds. So one man can do up to 4 hectares per day. And with our systems, we can do up to 60 hectares per day. So it's much more faster than the other methods. This is how it looks. And maybe if we're going to have lucky, we're going to see in a live demonstration, we're going to see it in a few moments. Last thing, but not least, we took our AI technology and we saw that if we can understand and identify the specific location of the rodents, why not to start to understand and to identify the specific weeds, or if the specific pest, other disease, and to be able to spray only the specific areas. And we are talking about pest control that costs a lot of money. And if this cotton field in the center of Israel, Kibbutz Sora, few years ago, he was sprayed with a very expensive pest control material. He spread, Asaf, the grower, the farmer, spread all over the field. Now we're mapping his weeds, his problem in the field, mapping the specific areas, and spray them. With the next slide, we will spread them with the drones only above the identified area, saving pest control, environmental friendly. It's much more cost effective to the farmer. So this is going to be the win-win-win situation. As Dr. Yoav Motro just explained, we, on the last few years, developed a method. We connect the knowledge, the experience. Our guys fight the locusts, that's the best. Dr. Yoav Motro and Yoav Muller, the Yoavs, they are the best locust warriors in the world. They're not going to tell you that, but I can. They fight against the locust in 2013 in Israel, and they won him with a lot of patience, motivation, and a best method. And it was because they want to win. And by that, they made it fighting during the night, following the locust during the day, mark the place they're going to sleep, and then to spray them during the night. It's the first time in the world, in 2020, in Israel, we started to operate drones against locusts in real spraying. We made a few tests, a few pilots in Israel, and the results was magnificent. And this is why we believe we can have a great solution to the Cavalete problem that we have here. We've been here in the last summer. We saw the problem, the Moroccan locust, and we feel that we can bring a great solution with the technology and with the knowledge and experience to Sardinia. Now, if we're gonna see, the movie. You're right. Let's see the movie of the Cavalete.
Hi there. I'm Ido from Alta. In the past few weeks, a few small swarmlets of desert locust invaded the Arava region. The locusts came in on southeastern winds from northern Saudi Arabia. Locusts can increase quickly in numbers and invade distant regions given the correct conditions. They invade fields and orchards and can quickly devour large quantities of crops. The locust that invaded Israel was sexually mature, identified by their yellow color. In this stage, they mate, and the females lay eggs in the soil. In every batch of eggs, there are several dozen eggs. A mature female lives a few weeks and lays some 200 eggs. The females lay eggs in a hole a few centimeters deep that they dig in moist soil. What happens next, you ask? How do you inside still cold? When were you thinking you'd take him? Threw you down ocean well. Using advanced tracking drones, we follow the locust swarms. In every region, it is possible to scan many kilometers and to locate large and small swarms and to track their movement. The drones enable us to share exact locations of the swarms when they land to roost, assisting the Ministry of Agriculture in decision-making and control in their battle against the locust. After many trials, ULV, ultra-low volume, and low-volume sprayer heads for drones were custom-made for the use against stationary adults or against hopper bands. This means we can precisely and effectively spray locust on large areas. This can be more effective and cheaper than broadcast spraying, while being faster and much safer than ground spraying. An added advantage of more precise spraying is that we have the opportunity to switch to safer pesticides, given the lowered acreage sprayed. This aspect is crucial for the safety of the inhabitants, the operators, the agricultural produce, and the environment. In the past months, we developed a method for controlling locust larvae, or hopper bands. The method utilizes both surveillance drones and spraying drones working in coordination. The surveillance drones send an online geolocation of locust findings, to which the sprayer drones navigate automatically, and using the onboard camera, identify the hoppers and control them.
So that's the Cavalete project that we are working on, and you know the challenge, we can prepare the Zoom now. The challenge with the Cavalete is that you cannot train whatever you want. It's not weed, it's not paste or spraying something. you need to be very fast when the moment you have the chance to develop a method, to prepare, to train on the Cavalletta. You need to be very fast, very efficient, and to develop your solution. So that's a new solution to a very old problem. And now, if we're gonna have a quick look, we're gonna have a luck to see the live teams here right now in Israel, working in the fields. We split today, here they are. We split today 3 different areas. The south, Arava region, we will see in a short moment. In the center of Israel, Emek Hefer, and in the north, Emek Israel. And let's start with whatever you want. Ido. Let's start with Mr. Ido Kugel. He is on the left side, up there. He's working right now. Yeah, we can make a volume up and then we will hear Ido. He's working right now in the Israeli Valley he's mapping the fields before we are starting to spread against the rodents, against the project of the rodents control. Ido, can you talk now?
Hey, how are you, Tomer?
Oh, very good. What a nice weather. It looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right,
Let's see.
I will show you how I do the mapping, the field.
Great. Go ahead. Now, it will take off. That's the small drones, can flying all over the fields, very, very fast. Ido is one of the best pilots in the world. So he can control the drones and can be very, very risky. Ido, it was very nice. And thank you very much, Ido. Now we can go on to the next step, the next, what else? What we have? Maybe to Mr. Tomer Sasser in Emek Hefer, yeah? Mr. Tomer Sasser and Mrs. Avishag van der Horn. They're right now at Emek Hefer and working with Venus system on the orchards. And they are going to be, yeah, Mr. Tomer, can you hear us?
You hear me?
Yeah, sure, it looks great.
Okay,
we can see the drone. Yeah, we can see the drone, we can see the tubes over there. That's the pest control. And the drone is about to take off. Tomer, can you take off? Show us. All right. Looks a great day in the Emek Hefer. And take off. And he's going great, looking good. He's going to his mission. And great. Thank you, Tomer. We need to rush because they don't have a lot of time to work today because the sun is going down very early and we have a lot of work. So thank you, Tomer, Sasser, and Avishag. Let's go the last but not least, in the Arava region. Mr. Idan Vosko and Mr. Tal Zelazny, the pilots, the team pilots, working right now in the Arava, and they are spraying the success pest control against the Mediterranean fly. So they're running in the field down there, yeah? Idan, good afternoon. Very good, good to see you, man. All right, let's take off, let's see. Take off. So that's every system, it's a different system for a different mission. And as you can see, that's the drone is going by himself, autonomously, did his mission, did the spraying, and coming back to replace batteries and to reload the pest control. So thank you very much, Idan, it was great, thank you so much. And I think in that great spirit of the guys in the field, we want to say thank you, and again, and if I need to say in general, we believe that in our vision, we can grow our children in a clean world, with grow more, with less pest control, and by that, to be much more efficient and to be much more clean world. Viva Sardinia, Viva Israel, Viva Italy. Thank you very much.
Siamo un po' in ritardo, adesso possiamo passare.
We're a bit late and now we can move on to agrivoltaics, which is a very interesting project. And I'd like to invite on stage Alessandra Addari and Jonathan Rothenberg, who represents here Thotel and Shinkun, which are two companies. Alessandra, I'm going to give you the floor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to introduce you to this very innovative agrivoltaics company. This is the solution of one of the major problems. Farms devour energies, soil, oil, and petrol. They are energy demanding companies. And of course, they need water, a lot of water. The farms need a lot of resources. Agrivoltaics solve all these problems because it puts together the energy of the sun with the power of agriculture by building a system that produces the energy and stores it while allowing the land to be productive, so there won't be hectares of fallow land or sacrifice to the production of energy. And the two aspects can coexist. Good morning, I'm going to speak Italian, so I'll make your life easier. Is it working?
No. Scusate. Allora, prima di tutto buongiorno a tutti.
First of all, good morning. I'd like to thank
la regione Sardegna,
the region of Sardinia Confagricoltura, the Embassy of Israel, for the support in promoting Israeli companies in Sardinia and try to bring added value. My name is Jonathan Rothenberg and I deal with investments in renewables and agrivoltaics. Together with our partners, Thotel and Shinkun, we invest in Europe, but mainly in Italy.
Perché l'agrivoltaico?
Why agrivoltaics? I'd like to show you first a macro topic. Italy today and Europe have targets at 2050 focused on the reduction of emission and reduction of the temperature. But at the same time, we see a situation where 40 million people are without energy. So on the one hand, yes, we have the 2050 targets, but we also have to look at the reality of things in the current ecosystem of today and tomorrow. The objectives of the European Union are very clear, but at the same time, states like Germany and France are setting their own rules, so it is important to find a national and regional solution in collaboration with the European Union. To do so, we need to start from the bottom. It's not wrong. It's also useful. We need to find collaborations because energy alone is not enough, so we need have two elements like energy and water, and combinations like agriculture and energy, which is today's topic, among others. And that is why we are here to discuss a situation where we try to find a solution on how to implement Agriculture 4.0. Of course, the premise is that solar panels on the ground is history, and producing energy alone is not something that associations and the region are interested in because they don't help the local community to keep growing. And this should be the future's focus. Productions which are not marginal. So why the Israeli are working on the agrivoltaic? We could joke about how good the Israelis are, but many companies have created production chains, internal production chains, focused on technology, research, and production of renewables in various ways. Doral, for instance, as you can see here, has included a collaboration with the Technion, with the university and companies, research companies from the sector and research companies, integrating hydrogen and agrivoltaics and soil management and so on. So what is agrivoltaics? It is a system that allows us to produce in an advanced way using agriculture 4.0. But what is agriculture 4.0? It is an integration of various systems and technologies. As you can see, this is an example of a prototype of a vineyard where we can see we have sensors for data gathering, IoT systems for management, and it gives the opportunity to people not to be on the field but to control everything remotely. There is a drip irrigation system. And you'll probably hear this from a competitor, even though we are all friends. It is also based on, or it depends on the type of climate, and we can control this drip irrigation on how to use water. It can be used in a cold climate, hot climate, that fosters production and helps farmers. As you can see, there are white sheets on the ground to help the plants defense, and they increase production. You can see the panels are dual-phased, so they increase the production of energy. There are various algorithms included in the system. One of the most interesting regards the monitoring of photosynthesis, which especially in the vineyards helps understand how and when and where to shade the plant. As we know, 40 degrees are too much for the plants, and so the panels shade the plants. And then, last but not least, these panels produce sustainable and clean energy. I have to say that I started working in agrivoltaics in Italy 2 years ago, and I faced two main problems. That is the cold. Every 6 months, then we had to face more problems, water, and of course now energy. Tomorrow we don't know what are the challenges or what the challenges would be, but we know that systems have to help agriculture grow, and agrivoltaics help increasing efficiency and the quality of the produce.
In
Israel, the production target from agrivoltaics is based on a 10% loss on the basis of the tests defined by the government. But if we consider all the climate change which is occurring yearly and seasonally, the system helps protecting and increasing the quality and therefore increasing production and quality. So it maybe the gross quantity would be lower, but the quality would be much higher. And I'm not saying that studies show this. As Mr. Curreli said earlier, climate problems must be understood and managed, and this is our objective. Who are the Israeli companies currently present in Italy? There are two partners. They are traded on the Israeli Stock Exchange. One is Thotel, which is present in 3 continents with 10 gigabytes of production. On the other hand, we have Shikun and Binui, which is a local company with 100 years old history and 2 billion turnover and 9,000 employees. Let's have a look in details as to what Thotel has been doing in Israel. We're talking about a company with 17 pilot projects currently in Israel with 9 types of crops, fruit, which collaborates with 4 research institutions to assess shading, which is one of the most important aspects, and has a total capacity of 17 megawatts. We're talking about avocado, potatoes, kiwi, and tomatoes. I don't have the live video, but yesterday we were together with Israel-Sardinia, which is partner of Confagricoltura, and you can see Vittorio and Viola, who are also on the board of we were talking about insurance in agriculture and investments and technology, trying together with the association and the farm hub and looking for new solutions to help Italian agriculture. These are the current projects, the ongoing projects, mainly in Kibbutz Hagashrim. Grapes are being produced. In Barilian, there are potatoes and tomatoes, and in Eilat, there are prunes. Shikun and Binui won the largest tender in Israel. It has currently 37 agrivoltaic sites, 21 different types of crops, 6 research institutes which are assessing the quality of the products, and great technology and precision in-house. One of the solutions, technological solutions that I like the most regard the fact that they manage to intervene and on existing crops and plantations, and they offer a solution that so far hasn't been found in Italy. Where is agrivoltaics in Italy? we've been
sono molto contento ed è
Doral
il
has
mio
been
progetto
working
più
on this project. This is the largest and most interesting project in San Luri, over 180 hectares, and we are growing vineyards in the Campidano area.
Da parte di Shikun il nostro primo progetto è parte di un progetto di
with Shikun, our project is a production chain contract focused on pears, kiwi and nectarines.
Il futuro dell'agricoltura e dell'agrivoltaico.
Future of agriculture and agrivoltaics. Unfortunately, agrivoltaics in Italy is defined as money speculation, where energy producing companies try to get authorizations producing energy and diversifying agriculture.
Le autorizzazioni oggi in Italia purtroppo
The authorizations or the authorization process in Italy is currently very slow. It takes on average 4 years, but if at the end of the authorization I need to implement the agricultural part, it takes 7 years, and the first fruit can be harvested after 7 years, and this is not fair. Because if we try to make value and create value through agriculture, agriculture has to come first. And that's why we are working on creating the fund that invests first on agriculture together with Agriculture 4.0. And then after, the energy part will be implemented, but we cannot wait so long because now we need to produce, to farm, and this has to be taken seriously. I would like to summarize and make my point going to the last slide, but probably is the most important part of our work. Nowadays, we can talk about agriculture, we can talk about technology and all, but if there's no relationship with the territory, we have nothing. And I'm really happy to say that what we've been doing in San Luri, together with the people, regardless of who they are, whether it's a mayor or the farmers. So what we've been doing goes beyond the economic agreement. We all know that we need young people in agriculture. We need to create a sustainable future for all. And this without our coordinator, Francesco Salis, would have been impossible, because we need a very deep understanding of the territory, and we need to understand the needs, because without knowing the needs and the problems and the history of a territory and the objectives of the farmers, we cannot create value. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to say, go on Sardinia, go on Israel, and thank you very much.
Io aggiungerei anche Forza Cagliari, che è la nostra squadra del cuore. Adesso siamo arrivati all'ultima azienda che è qui per noi,
Here is the last company.
Di acqua e di
The last company deals with water issues, in particular irrigation, Nandanjan. It's a very complex name for Italian people, but they are the Italian persons of reference for this company. This is the last presentation. It was very interesting to listen to these presentations. So Stefano is given the floor first. Are you ready?
Ok, le slide?
Sì, manca
Comincia a presentarti.
Allora, molto piacere, io sono Stefano D'Alfonso.
My name is Stefano D'Alfonso. I'm the area manager for the south of Italy for non-Giant Italy. Thank you very much for inviting us. It is very nice to be here in Sardinia. Being in Sardinia is usually a pleasure.
Siamo qui per poter prospettare
We are here to present and analyze issues which are becoming more and more greater for Italy and Israel. My colleagues will take the floor later. Our company has been working for over 80 years. The company was created out of two different kibbutz. They focused on the support of agriculture to grow fruit and vegetables in the desert. The expertise and the research conducted over the last few years made it possible to acquire the tools necessary to grow plants in the desert. The two different kibbutzes, Nandan and Jain, merged into a single company. These are the most pressing and most common problem in today's agriculture is the lack of water resources. So it is very important to analyze the local availability of water resources, the worse and worse weather conditions, all those conditions, all those elements which have affected climate in general. So what we do is we focus on precision irrigation. That is mostly the core activity of our company. So we provide water and a more effective management of water resources to reduce the use and prevent the overuse of water. We basically focus on three issues. We answer three questions. How much water does a specific plant require? How much water is available? How do I take that water to the field? We worked firstly on the agronomic side, using experts who analyze the availability of water and the requirements for plant products and also the impact of external elements such as temperature, wind, rain, and relative humidity. So we analyze, we collect data by using weather stations on the fields. Thanks to a smartphone, we can view the information collected. Let's move to the second question. How much water does a single plant, individual plant need? When I went to Israel to be trained, I was taught that soil is just like a sponge. A sponge may retain an amount of water, but if we overflow it with water, we cannot keep all the water used. So we need to understand how much a specific soil can retain water. And we also need to use sensors, precision sensors, to understand how much water is required by the plants. Nandan Jain is developing and also tuning the sensors developed. So basically, the sensors analyze the first 60 centimeters of soil to understand how much water may be retained. Basically, this is the distance necessary for a plant to collect water, so the roots go down to 60 centimeters. The increase in the cost of raw materials is now requiring a sound and more effective analysis of these elements. So we need to understand how much a specific plant requires in terms of water usage. And we also try to understand how much we can irrigate without causing a stress to the plants available on the field.
Una parte un po' più esposta alle criticità.
Part of the plant is usually exposed to harsher conditions, so we need to minimize the causes of stress for the individual plant. The first part of the plant, we see the roots, the beginning of the roots of the plant. So the probe basically tries to analyze the amount of water necessary to reach the lower levels. And if we overuse water, if the water is too much water is used, the graph turns gray, whereas if not enough water is used, the red band, the blue band becomes red. So by analyzing the blue and red cases, we can understand where we have to operate to improve the performance of the irrigation system. We can also understand where fertilizers and plant products are mostly spread on the field. So we work both on sensors, but also on the level of uniformity of the analysis of the spread of products and water over the fields. You see, this is an artichoke field. Using our sensors, we can analyze how much uniformity can be reached on the field. So we are able to understand if the water is reaching, is covering the field, is watering the field in an evenly fashion. So you see, we can see a distribution of 40% and 90% and we can also see a coefficient that highlights the level of uniformity. For example, as much as we get closer to 1.0, the more we get closer to 1.0, the more we understand that the watering system is effective. So how can we relate this to the 4.0 agriculture or 5.0 agriculture? By making sensors and automated systems more effective, we can achieve the new goals. This control unit has multiple functions. It's a system that we use to to check the irrigation and fertirrigation. So this monitoring unit can also see if irrigation is precise. We can also check the cleanness of filters. And by analyzing the level of cleanness of the filter, we can also understand if the water is being filtrated in an effective way, and so if substances are released into the environment. The problem is that once the filter is clogged, there's no way to control the quality and distribution of water. So it is very important to understand through the use of these units the level of cleanness of filters. But we can also understand, monitor the change of temperature over the field, and also operate through an irrigation that tries to solve a problem connected to frost.
Concretamente a chiudere tutti gli step per permettere di avere un'irrigazione automatizzata,
So by automating the system, we can also secure an effective irrigation, also to prevent the formation, for example, in this case, of ice. Michele Carboni, I will give the floor to Michele Carboni to describe what Sardinia is needs at the moment, is requiring at the moment from the technological point of view.
Di quello che è un'applicazione delle cose che ha detto Stefano, quindi sul carciofo, che è una coltura.
Let's talk about the artichoke fields that we were seeing in the slide. We have a company with a surface of about 25,000 hectares. This is a very special situation because usually plots of lands are much smaller. But we are also surrounded by companies which are very smaller surfaces, between 3 and 8 hectares. So we need to work on solutions which may be scaled and applied to different types of lands, different types of plots. This is the frost prevention system. This is a typical system that we use in Sardinia on artichoke fields. You see, we have a triangular shaped organization of sprinklers. So we can, they are connected by rubber tubes. Due to the current situation in weather conditions, we need to automate the system in order to prevent the stress to the plants. And now that the temperatures are getting lower and lower, we will be able to use the anti-frost system to prevent icing. So by monitoring the levels on the field, we can meet the 4.0 agriculture requirements, but we can go beyond that. So activities can become quicker through the use of technology, but we can also receive or help companies receive financial benefits from the government, thanks to the implementation of technology in the field.
Volevo semplicemente dire quando Quando abbiamo sentito
I wanted to say,
la sua tecnologia, siamo rimasti
when Stefano described his technology, we were shocked. We really thought we had to invite them over and share this technology with you. This is a very advanced technology, and it's reachable, it's usable. Everything was very coherent. So Agriverso is about to close. I'd like to thank you for your interest and for your patience. And what I would like to say right now is that Agriverso will take place straight on the field, and the farmers will be able to appreciate the state-of-the-art technologies that will invite from Israel. I'd like to thank all the organizers, Confagricoltura, Chenàbura, Giulio, who's worked a lot, and the team that has supported the organization, Alessandra Addari, and our Israeli friends who traveled to come over to our beautiful island. Enjoy your stay.